thank you all for coming tonight. Just a very brief story. There was a little boy that was raised in the country by his grandparents. His grandfather couldn't read or write, and his grandmother had a third-grade education. And they raised him so far out in the woods until when it was his age to go to school, they had to move to a community where there was a school. So these first 6 years, this little boy, you know, played with the animals and the insects and the birds and the dogs and the horses and all of that, and not really having a lot of human contact except from his grandparents. And then when he went to school, they had prepared him so well that he was at the top of his class from the time he was in the first grade all the way until he moved to the city to go to high school. Now that was in the 40s and the 50s. Now you go to 1982, and this boy has gone to architecture school. He's married this wonderful young lady from Southern California, coming from that little farm in Oklahoma. And he's sitting in the house of a gentleman who is now king of a country, helping design his palace, and working on a billion-dollar project, and working in London and Greece and the Middle East, and had all of this time to think about, wow, how did I get here? You know, when you're sitting on the Riviera and you came from that kind of background and you say, wow, you know, you're sitting out, you're looking, and you just say, wow, what happened, you know? And as I traveled the world, while my family was with me, I was traveling and looking at all these people, and I'm saying, you know, the only difference between them and me is that somebody prepared me and gave me a little guidance as to what steps to take, and always got me to listen to people who were much older than me. Because when you have grandparents, you know, they always visit older people, so you're around them all the time. And so what I thought about was, I looked at all these books, I started reading, and I found that most people don't have time to read a long book, or they don't even know that that book exists, perhaps, that can help them. There are so many books out there. And I said, why don't I look at, you know, chart, you know, all of the things that help to make me successful. So for 2 years, I traveled Europe and Asia and Africa and spent a lot of time traveling around the States. And I had this chart. Here are all of the things about your life that you need to know. And it turns out that after 2 years and over 20-some countries, we came up with a chart of everything that has to do with your life on one page. Wow. So, in 1984, the Priorities of Life chart was born, and I didn't think a lot about it. I always mentored people. Because I always had a successful marriage, successful family. And so people started to use this chart all around the world. Not a lot of people, but a lot of people did. And then I came back to the States, and some counselors and mentors started using it. And after 28 years, I had retired, and I said I want to write. So I had written about 12 different drafts of different kind of children's stories and mysteries and spy. And so when I started visiting you all, I found that you need to write about something you know something about. So I said, you know, this Priorities of Life chart has been successful for 28 years. Everybody that's used it says it works for them. Why don't I write about that first? So that's when I published the Priorities of Life chart. And you'll see some of them around the table. I want to thank some of you we had an international competition to do a cover, and a lot of you helped me with it. We couldn't select one cover, so we selected 2 covers. But anyway, I want to thank you all that kind of helped me, guide me through this process. I finally published it last December. And very interestingly enough, a lot of the people who use it the most are parents and grandparents who buy a copy of this for their kids in their 20s and grandkids in their 20s and 30s. Because when they go off and leave home, at least they have one page of a chart to say, these are all the things you need to be dealing with in life. And what the chart does is, it has your whole life on one page. So you complete those parts that refer to you. All of them refer to you, but you give different scores to different ones of them. And when you finish, it gives you a guide to what are the next 3 steps I should be taking in life. October 25th is coming up. I do mine on every birthday, and every birthday I do the chart, and every birthday it turns out a little bit different. and thank my wife, Paulette Mashaka, for coming tonight. And being 69 years old and good health, and what, 45 years, 46 years? 46 years, and having a son that's gone off to Harvard Law School, the daughter George Washington MBA, and youngest son graduating. You know, I think that I've set an example, and I still use my chart. Wow. And I want to thank Irwin for helping guide me along, and the book publicist of Southern California for this award. I really appreciate it, and thank you all very much. Yeah, let's hear it.